What's up, boys? Just want to double check to make sure everything's working. I'm also live streaming on Twitch, not Twitch, sorry, Kick and YouTube. So want to make sure everything's working. There we go. All right, that looks good. Let's just double check. Sorry, boys, just a little bit new to all of this. Let me just go over here. Do that. Okay. Do that. Yep, we're good there. All right. Just bear with me a little bit. As I said, I'm streaming on two platforms. I'm just trying to make sure everything's working on both. Just want to do that a little bit, figure that out. All right. So should be good at this point. So, all right. Welcome back to any of my fans that have watched my live streams in the past. I'm going to try to live stream a lot more, significantly more. I know I did a couple in the past. Really, what I try to do is try to do pre-fight, pre-cards live streams, talking about a little bit about the cards, or maybe make a live stream on some breaking news if it comes out, something like that. But what I'm trying to do at this point is just trying to do a lot more regular live streams, keep in contact with you guys a little bit more, talk about some more UFC stuff, and just go just talk about stuff, and we'll figure out our way as we go on, obviously. But yeah. So the first thing I want to talk about is this upcoming card we have. This fight night, Jamal Hill versus Khalil Rountree. Definitely a very interesting card. It's a pretty good one, actually. It's a pretty good fight night. I know I've been complaining a lot about the cards lately, and some others have been doing the same. But this upcoming card is pretty good. But actually, I guess before we get into that, let's talk about this previous week's card. So I thought this card was horrible, really, really bad card for entertainment value. When you just go through and look at some of the fights on this main card, we'll start there. Alonzo Menafield versus Sai, very, very boring fight. Very well. If you bet on Alonzo Menafield, you're probably happy. Plus 500 on that. Sai doesn't look like he's that great. Definitely not capable of, or warranted of having that sort of number on him in terms of the betting lines being that big of a favorite. Kind of a nothing burger, a lot of failed takedowns in this fight, some power shots from Menafield here and there, and he ended up getting the nod in the end. So good for him, but overall, very boring fight. Then this next fight, this was a very odd one. Mansoor versus Cody Brundage. Also, kind of like a staring contest the first two rounds, and then round three, all of a sudden they decide to fight, and it was a incidental headbutt. Turned out very weird the way it turned out, because it was an incidental headbutt. And then after the headbutt, they decided to score the first two rounds. We'll go to the scorecards, and they scored the first two rounds. And in the third round, it was 30 seconds of the third round. And they decided to score the third round also, just those 30 seconds. It's a little bit weird. It would have been a majority draw if they just scored the first two rounds, but they did the all three rounds, even though there was only 30 seconds of that third round. So Mansoor ended up winning a decision. Very interesting, the way it panned out, honestly. Sorry if I'm just looking down. I'm just making sure everything's good, checking out how all this is working. But anyways, yeah, so kind of weird how that panned out. Kind of feels like Cody Brundage got, cheaped out of at least a draw, at the very least. But he didn't initiate the headbutt. It was Mansoor. I'm not saying it was on purpose for Mansoor, but he initiated the headbutt. So probably should have been a no contest, or at least scored just the first two rounds. Would have been a draw. I don't know. Interesting fight. Then moving on to Cody Garbrandt versus Barcelos. This is also an interesting one. I thought Cody could have won if he fought smart, but unfortunately he didn't fight smart. He kind of just went into this fight thinking that his speed and his physicality is going to win him the fight. And early on, he had success. He had that same blitz that he kept going for time in and time again, where he just threw left hook, right hook, left hook, right hook, while running forward. And it worked the first time that he did it. He actually hurt Barcelos, dropped him even. But then at that point, he decided to showboat a little bit. I don't think Barcelos was that hurt at that point, but still, maybe possibly an opportunity for Cody Garbrandt to go for a finish at that point, decided to showboat. And then going forward from there, he just couldn't really get much going. He was stopping takedowns very effectively. I mean, this guy is very, very athletic, very, very fast. He has a lot of skills and a lot of gifts, but I just thought he didn't fight smart. In the second round, he was just stopping takedowns the entire round. And even the third round, it was kind of the same. He was just getting pressured alongside the cage, not really utilizing his movement, his footwork and movement all that much. And at the end of the day, he just lost a decision that I thought he probably should have won. Probably should have beat Barcelos. Regardless of the betting odds, I know Barcelos was a decent favorite actually, but I think skill for skill, Cody Garbrandt is better. He's significantly faster, as I said, and I thought he probably should have won that fight. But moving on to this next fight, Edmund Shabazian versus Petrosky. Also another one. This card was just filled of staring contests. These guys were just staring at each other for the most part. It felt like Shabazian was definitely the better fighter than Petrosky. I'm not really high whatsoever on Petrosky. But when Shabazian went, he was landing and he was hurting Petrosky a bunch of times. Even at the end of that third round, he threw a head kick that was blocked, but it seemed like it broke Petrosky's wrist or hurt his wrist or something. Then he threw another head kick, landed again on that wrist, and it almost, not almost, it did drop Andre. But then from there, Shabazian just let him up and stopped fighting. So I don't know. It was very odd the way it panned out, and turned out to be a decision, very obvious decision for Shabazian. But at the end of the day, just very weird how it panned out. And I don't know. It just felt like a finish could have definitely came from that fight, but it turned out to be a staring contest with kind of a drop, I guess. Then moving on to this Rose fight. Actually, out of the main card, besides the main event, I thought this was probably the best fight, which is saying something. Because it's women's fights and not the most exciting in the world, but even on top of that, like there was no finish or anything. But it was pretty good. It was kind of fun kind of to watch Rose's movement. Her movement is very, very good, and she's honestly an elite fighter for women's MMA. Just like the combos she's able to put together, the angles she's able to find, angle changing, throwing a right hand, throwing high kicks at times, leg kicks. She just does a really nice job. And I thought it was a very obvious win for Rose. I heard some people saying they thought Maverick won the fight. I really don't know where you see that at all. Round three, Maverick got dropped or popped a knee, whatever it was. So obviously that was a Rose round. And round one, I thought was an obvious Rose round as well. And honestly, I thought she won round two, even though she was in a lot of trouble at the end of that round, just from the body of work she did prior. She also had Maverick in a submission attempt. And before that, she was holding her down, doing a lot of good work on the feet. And I just thought Rose probably should have won 30-27. But even at 29-28, I don't hate that scorecard. But regardless, Rose won that fight. But similar to some of the other fights, it felt like Rose maybe could have got a finish, because on that like drop or knee pop, whatever happened to Maverick on that sequence where she fell down, it feels like if Rose just stood the fight up, I don't know if Miranda Maverick would have been able to stand up, and maybe she would have, got technically TKO'd at that point. Who knows? So it feels like there could have been a finish there, but unfortunately for Rose, didn't happen. But still, she got the win. So good win for her. And then moving on to the main event, this was actually a really good fight. I know there's a lot of wrestling. Some fans don't like that much. I thought this was a really good fight. Usman showed a lot, and honestly, Buckley also showed a lot of his deficiencies. Usman shot in for a takedown in rounds 1 through 4, one takedown, got all of them, and held top control for the entire fight, for those entire rounds. The question with Usman going into this fight was, is he washed? If he wasn't washed, when you look throughout Usman's career, this guy should not be a plus 200 against anybody, or honestly, even an underdog against a guy like Joaquin Buckley. When you see some of the guys this guy has fought and beat throughout his career, and even when you look at his most recent fight versus Khamzat Chimaev, Usman was in that fight. And a lot of people, including myself, think that if that fight went 5 rounds instead of 3 rounds, that Khamzat fight, I think Usman probably would have won, or at least a good chance he would have won. So going from Khamzat Chimaev to Joaquin Buckley, a weight class down, a full training camp, and a significantly worse opponent. It was just odd to see a lot of people doubting Kamaru Usman going into this fight. I get the knees. Even I talk about the knees a lot. Like his knees are not great, and it's obviously been a problem throughout his career. And as he gets older, it's could potentially be more and more of a problem. But in this fight, it didn't look like it was a problem at all. Um, and also, he hasn't fought in a long time. So people may have thought that going into this fight, he'll be a little bit rusty. He's going up against a hungry young up and comer like Joaquin Buckley, who's been on a little bit of a tear as of late. And obviously, a lot of people thought Buckley would win, but Usman shut all of that down. All the takedowns that he went for, as I said, he got. His top control has always been amazing. Amazing control on Buckley, even landing some ground and pound shots as well. But mostly what every round was, a little bit on the feet, just Usman going for the jab, the right straight. Um, landing at times. He wasn't throwing too much on the feet, but when he saw an opportunity, he would shoot in for a takedown, grab the legs, go for a double leg, easily get it. Every time he shot for a takedown in rounds 1 to round 4, easy takedowns. So he was able to get all of them, and once he got on the ground, it was over from there. He was just holding top control, landing some ground and pound shots, and it just seemed like Buckley. Honestly, some of the shots that Usman was getting, I get Usman's a really good wrestler, whatever, but it kind of just seems like Buckley never trains takedown defense or never trains against anyone that's anywhere decent at shooting takedowns. It was very odd. There was one sequence in the third round or the second round, I believe, where Usman shot from so far out and he got a takedown so easily. So it was very odd. But probably the more odd thing about this fight was in round 5, in between round 4 and 5, Buckley's coach said match his energy, and in round 5, Buckley was stopping all the takedowns that Usman was going for. Maybe they were a little bit more sweaty at that point and a little bit more slippery, so it was a little bit easier for sorry, let me just get this off the screen. So it's a little bit easier for Buckley to stop takedowns, but regardless, it was very odd to see his takedown defense get so good in between the fight after being so bad in rounds 1 through 4. It wasn't just round 1, it was bad, and then the rest of the fight, it was good. It was horrible, the whole fight, and then round 5, it was good. But yeah, so Usman was able to obviously win a pretty easy decision in that fight. And this does lead to some questions. I mean, it leads to some questions about Joaquin Buckley's takedown defense. How far could this guy truly go? I was always on the fence about Buckley. I know he was getting some wins, he was putting some wins together, but when you look at a lot of the guys he beat, there were a lot of older guys. And in some of those fights, he was even losing to some of those guys. So I was always I'm not sure how good Buckley really is. He throws a lot of junk volume on the feet. He's gotten better. He doesn't do it as much. But even in this fight, he did it a decent amount where he's just throwing wild right hands, wild uppercuts that were just a foot away from Usman, not even close to landing. Obviously, if you throw out enough of those shots, eventually some shots are going to land. And he did land some big shots on Usman throughout this fight. But Usman's chin proved to hold up and proved to be an elite chin. So it didn't really matter all that much in this fight. Um, but but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not really sold on Buckley, and after this fight, I'm definitely not sold on Buckley. I don't think he's really going to be like a legitimate top 5 contender. I think he's a guy with good power. I think he's a guy with amazing cardio. The fact that he was able to throw all those shots and in round 5 have the card look as fresh as he did just goes to show how good his cardio truly is. This guy has great cardio. So that was good to see for him, I guess. But as I said, I'm not super sold on him. For Kamaru Usman, he's striking not so great, not as good as it normally is. It's not like he was ever an amazing striker, but I always thought he had a really nice 1-2. And in this fight, he didn't throw it as much. I know he said actually in his post-fight interview um, that he's going to look to, he just wanted that monkey off his back. He wasn't super comfortable getting in there, at least at the beginning. But now that he knows he's still legit and he's still elite, and he was able to beat a young up-and-comer like Joaquin Buckley, he's going to get a lot more confidence, probably look to strike a little bit more against some other guys. And maybe that is true. Maybe that isn't true. We'll see what happens going forward from here. But definitely an interesting one. In terms of matchmaking after this card, at least for the main event, let's start with. I think Usman should fight Belal Muhammad. I think that's a tailor-made fight. They had their beef on their podcast. Usman's coming off a win, former champion. Bilal's coming off a loss. former champion as well. I think this is a good fight to make. And if Usman is able to beat Belal, you give him a title shot again. Just imagine that. Kamaru Usman getting another title shot, potentially even winning. Who knows? Like that, the story for Kamaru Usman is just tremendous, to be honest. So yeah. Oh, sorry, boys. I think I'm missing some of your comments. Um, what's up, boys? Yo, what's up, Ryan? What's up, Darts? What's up, Torin? Brown? Poirier, Holloway, who you got for your prediction? That's an interesting fight. I think I'm leaning towards Holloway. I just think, as a general rule, it's obviously not always true, but as a general rule, I think when a guy says he's going to retire pre-fight, usually they don't win that fight. Obviously, every fight's different. Poirier at this point is probably retiring a little bit early. I think he still has a lot left in the tank, and he's just deciding to retire early. But whatever. But as a general rule, when you have it in the back of your mind that you want to retire, it's never a great sign. But even besides that, in terms of like technically why I think Holloway is going to win, I just think the last time they fought, Poirier versus Holloway. Holloway was just a fat 155er. He didn't move up properly, and I think that showed in that fight. He wasn't able to take shots as well. Maybe like the shots that he was landing wasn't landing with as much force, and it just felt in that fight all the shots that Poirier landed hurt Max significantly. But whenever Max was able to put combos together, because he was, and when he was landing, it didn't really do much damage to Poirier. But I think going forward in this fight, Holloway has shown. Actually, let me just skip to that fight. Let's go to this. But going forward to that fight, Max has shown that he has power at 155. Even at 145, he's sitting down on his shots a lot more. And I think he's going to be able to have a lot more sting on his shots in this fight against Poirier. While also, as I said before, he's going to be in much better shape. And I just think the volume, the pressure, and potentially the sting, or a little bit more sting, that Max is going to have on his shots is going to lead him to a victory. But it is a close fight. Poirier is a really good fighter. He has a lot of grit. He does hit very hard. Max Holloway was just knocked out for the first time in his career against Ilia Topuria. But as I talked about before, I don't buy too much into that. Yes, Max had an iron chin. Yes, it was technically cracked in his last fight versus Ilia. But I think Ilia just hits that hard, and I think Ilia's boxing is just that good. I don't think it's really an indictment of Max's chin collapsing and he's not going to be able to take shots anymore. Of course, it is possible, but I just don't really buy into that. I think Max is going to be able to take shots from Poirier and hopefully avoid some of the big shots for his sake. But yeah, I never knew originally what was supposed to, but they didn't. Yeah, yeah. That would have been interesting. Poirier versus Ferguson. That would have definitely been interesting. But yeah, but they decided to go Max Holloway versus Poirier. Interesting fight. In terms of like where it pushes these guys going forward from here, I don't know. Obviously, win or loss, Poirier is going to retire. Well, honestly, if he wins, maybe if he wins and he's able to get a title shot, maybe he stays. Honestly, but if he loses, he definitely retires. And honestly, if he wins, he probably retires too. But for Max, if he wins this fight, it's a good win on his resume. I don't know where it pushes him forward from here, because if he wins, he beats Dustin. That's a great win for him. It's going to push him up the ranks. But if Ilya beats Charles Oliveira, I don't think you can give Max Holloway that title shot next. And obviously, there's other guys that deserve it more. Norman Sarukian, some other guys as well. So there's a lot of moving parts at 155. So Max is probably going to need to fight at least one more guy. And even then, if Ilya is still the champ, are you going to do a rematch between Max and Ilya when Ilya was able to knock out Max the way he did? I don't know. Maybe you do it. We'll see what happens going forward from there. But yeah. But anyways, going back to this Buckley fight, as I said, for Usman, matchmaking, I would do Usman versus Belal. I think that's perfect matchmaking. For Buckley, I would do Buckley versus Prates. I think that's also good matchmaking. Buckley just lost. I think he has to fight back in the rankings. And in terms of Prates, yes, he did lose, but he fought someone who's significantly higher in the ranks than him, in Ian Gary, and he almost finished him in that 5th round. I think that's a fight you make. It's a really fun fight, and I think it's a fight that Prates honestly will win. I'm honestly not too high on Buckley. But of course, we'll see. I could be wrong. We'll see what happens going forward. How everyone wrote off Usman. I believe we'll see the same with Charles. Certainly possible. There has been a lot of pictures going around of Charles next to Rahul Rosas, and he looks significantly bigger than Rosas. And there's a picture of Rosas with Ilia Topuria, and Topuria looks, or sorry, Rosas looks significantly bigger than Topuria. So Charles is definitely going to be way bigger than Ilia. The question is that going to matter? I don't know. Honestly, what I think is I think Ilia is the truth. I think this guy's boxing is so legit. I think his power is so legit. Now, there are question marks because he hasn't fought at 155 against anyone super good. He fought once at 155, but he didn't fight a wrestler and he didn't fight anyone that's super good at that division. So now moving up and fighting a guy like Charles Oliveira, I mean, that's a big test for sure. Oliveira's wrestling has looked amazing as of late. So we'll see how that holds up against Ilia. But I think if this fight's on the feet, it's just difficult for me to see Charles winning this fight. It really is. He has a lot of power. Who knows? Maybe he lands a high kick. Maybe one of those left hooks land on Ilia Topuria, but I don't know. It's an interesting fight for me, but at this point, I would lean with Ilia. But I'm a huge Ilia fan. I'm a huge Charles fan. Kind of upset this is happening, honestly, because I like both of these guys. But if Charles wins, I definitely will be very happy. Him being champion again at 155 would honestly be amazing. So we'll see what happens there. Um, uh, Charles heads in nothing. Let's see. What's my boy saying? Charles is going to catch Oliveira just like he did. He's going to catch Ilya, you mean, just like he did Chandler. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible. Charles has good striking. He has a lot of power, and we'll see what happens there. But yeah, so moving on to this next card, this upcoming card, Jahmal Hill Rountree. I have a video coming out about that soon. Be sure to check that out. Um, and yeah, that should be good. Sorry, boys, just bear with me. I'm gonna check if I got comments from here. No. All right. First stream on Kick. We'll see what happens with that. But I'm just trying to test out a bunch of things and see what works, see what doesn't. So yeah, let's just go back live here. So yeah, anyways, sorry about that. So moving on to this next card between Jahmal Hill and Rountree. As I said, I have a video coming out about this soon. Be sure to check that out. I think it's coming out on Wednesday, I believe. Either Wednesday or Friday. I'll keep you guys updated on that. But I think Rountree is going to win this fight. I think Jahmal Hill is a good fighter. He has a lot of power. And although he's not necessarily the fastest guy in the world, he does just find a way to land that left hand. And when he's able to land that left hand, he knocks out most guys. But in this fight versus Rountree, I just think Rountree is going to be too fast for him. And I think Rountree is getting better. He is on an up and up, while Jahmal Hill might be on the downtrend a little bit. He has a couple losses in a row against Alex Pereira and against Yuri Prohaska, knocked out both times. So we'll see where Jahmal lands up at this point. Also, it has those knee injuries. I know at this point it's a little bit time ago, but still has to be on your mind a little bit. But we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, but the reason why I think Rountree is going to win this fight, as I said, I just think he's going to be too fast. I think he's going to be able to land that jab at will against Jahmal Hill, that left straight, southpaw versus southpaw. That left straight, I think he's going to be nice against Jahmal. Maybe he gets inside, lands some hooks. Uppercuts, I think also once he's inside, that uppercut of Khalil Rountree is a very good one. And I think it could be somewhat of a factor in this fight. And yeah, overall, I just think the speed. I think the speed and footwork. Footwork is a huge difference between these guys as well. Not even like Rountree has the best footwork in the world. I really don't think he does. But Jahmal Hill has some of the worst footwork I've seen in a little bit. So, yeah. So I don't know. I just think Rountree is going to win this fight based on speed, footwork, and just being on the up and up. Honestly. But besides that, we have Fiziev versus Bahamundes. Let me just let's see. Charles can and will piece up Topuria via clinch, knees, elbows. If Makhachev and Topuria couldn't knock out Charles, I don't think Ilya can. Yeah, I mean, Islam did drop him, but yes, you're right. He didn't knock him out. Poirier couldn't as well. Yeah, Charles had an amazing performance in that fight. And listen, I think the clinch is going to be Charles's friend. I think he's going to want to look to wrestle a little bit in this fight. I think he's going to want to look to get in that clinch. I think what Charles is going to want to avoid is that inside boxing range. That's what he's going to want to avoid. For Charles, keep the fight at range, utilize your kicks, utilize your front kick, utilize your jab, your right straight, or clinch or just shoot for takedowns and get the fight to the ground. Those are the areas where I think Charles is going to have a lot of success. But as I said, that inside boxing range is going to be dangerous for Charles. He does get hit a lot. Ilya does have a lot of power. And yes, I mean, I see your point about Islam wasn't able to knock him out. Dustin wasn't able to knock him out. Yes, you're right. But honestly, I do think the power of Topuria is a little bit different than those guys. I know he's a little bit smaller. He fights at 145. Now he's moving up. We'll see what happens with this power, I guess, moving up. But I don't know. It's interesting. I'll say that. It's interesting. We'll see what happens. It's going to be an amazing fight regardless. I think it's going to be very action packed. We're going to see a finish most likely. And one way or the other, we'll see what happens. Usman beating Buckley just proves why it's not good for people like Canada. I mean, nobody gave him a chance. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. A lot of people thought Usman was done. His knees were done. He's too old. He's washed. He hasn't fought in forever. And yeah, and obviously he won the fight, and he won the fight. I mean, he won the fight very dominantly. And yeah, I mean, and yes, I mean the same could be said about Charles. One thing I'll say about Charles though is at least for me, I haven't heard it too much. Maybe some people are, but you can't really count on Charles Oliveira. Usman, listen, I thought Usman had a real chance to win that fight going in, and I'm honestly a big Usman fan. He's a really good fighter. But there were legitimate questions. He was getting older. Obviously, the knees were a legitimate question. Obviously, he hasn't fought in a while, and he was going up against a young up-and-comer. As I said, I never thought Buckley was amazing, but still, he was a guy in a win streak with a lot of momentum. So there was legitimate questions. This fight against with Charles Oliveira and Ilia Topuria, I don't think the questions are the same. Yes, there's questions of, can Charles avoid the big right hand? Can Charles avoid the big left hook? Of course, those are questions, but the questions aren't Charles Oliveira hasn't fought in forever. Oliveira's washed at this point. Oliveira's this, Oliveira's that. The same questions that we had going into the Usman fight. So I think it's a little bit different. We'll see what happens in this fight, but I don't think anyone's questioning whether or not Charles is washed. If that is true, if people are questioning that, I haven't personally seen it. But yeah, I don't know. I just haven't seen it. But yes, I mean, of course, we'll see what happens. Charles said he's going to knock out Topuria. As I've said, yeah, certainly possible. Certainly possible. He has a really nice left hook. Maybe he looks for head kicks. Topuria has been caught with the head kick before. And also shorter guy, it's going to be easier for Oliveira to throw up that head kick and potentially land on him. We'll see what happens. So that should be a really good fight. But moving on to Bahamundes versus Fiziev. Fiziev is once again a pretty big favorite, which is honestly interesting to me. This guy's been a favorite against Gaethje twice, like a -200 favorite against a bunch of other guys as well, and he's lost a few fights, honestly. Fiziev is an interesting one. I think Fiziev is very, very good. I just think he's a 145er. I think he's just too small for 155, and the power just doesn't translate. His head kicks and some of his interior boxing with his hooks, his uppercuts, I think would just be a lot more effective at 145. Now, he is very muscle bound, so maybe it'll be a tough cut to 145. Maybe his chin wouldn't be nearly as good at 145. So, of course, there are those questions, but I really think he should move down to 145 at this point. It just seems like his physicality isn't there at 155. So based on that, honestly, I think Bahamundes is going to win this fight. I think at range, he's going to do a great job at just keeping this fight there. I think he's going to land a lot of straights and jabs, head kicks as well. He has that spinning wheel kick in his arsenal. And I just think it's going to be tough for Fiziev to have a lot of success. I mean, he's a very talented fighter. I could see him getting on the inside, landing a bunch of hooks and uppercuts on Bahamundes. But at the end of the day, I just don't know if those are going to land with as much force as Bahamondes is going to be able to land on Fiziev. And I don't know if he's going to be able to hurt Bahamondes necessarily, or even if he does, I don't know if he's going to be able to drop him or hurt him or whatever. So I just think the physicality at 155 does not favor Fiziev. As I said, I think he's a great fighter. I definitely am very high on him, but we'll see what happens with that. Just getting back to the comments a little bit, I got Jamal Hill beating Roundtree. Yeah, I mean, listen, the odds suggest that this is a close fight, and I do think it is a close fight. As I said, I just think the footwork, the speed and movement and whatever of Roundtree is going to be difficult for Jamal Hill to deal with. But with that being said, I'm not going to count him out. He has a ton of power. One left hand knocks out essentially anybody. So if he's able to line up that left hand, maybe like a jab left straight on Roundtree, certainly could be an early night, and could be an early knockout for Jamal Hill, or even if it happens late. The thing about Jamal Hill is that power lasts pretty long. He holds that power for a while, so it could be the fifth round. Khalil Roundtree is winning, doing the better work. All of a sudden, jab left straight from Jamal Hill, and all of a sudden Jamal Hill gets a fifth round knockout. Like it wouldn't be surprising. His power does hold for a long time, and he definitely could knock out anybody in any round. So I wouldn't be surprised. When is 317? Like July 20th? Let's take a look. Actually, good question. Not that one. It is June 28th. Or you said June 30th. Sorry, but it's June 28th for UFC 317. Should be a really good one. One I'm really excited about. But yeah, and we have some other cards coming up besides that, but kind of touched upon everything I want to touch upon. So let's go back here. Let's switch full screen. What's up, boys? So sorry, I'm just yeah, the card's closed. Yeah, it's the week after the Roundtree fight. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure things out. Sorry, boys. Okay. All right. So yeah, I mean, there's no other fights that I really want to talk about specifically. If you guys have any questions, I'll answer all of your questions. But yeah, as I said, I definitely want to stream a lot more. I'm figuring things out with my YouTube channel. I'm definitely going to be a lot more all in on my YouTube channel. More videos. I don't know if you guys have seen some of them, but 2 videos a week instead of one in the past. Obviously, reels and shorts are coming out all the time. So that's another thing. And yeah, I mean, I also started a NBA channel. If you guys are interested, I'll plop it up on the screen. Let's, oh, sorry, wait. Didn't even pop it up on the screen. There we go. Pop it on the screen. Go to YouTube. I don't know what the fuck is this. Let's go here. Here we go. This is my YouTube channel, my NBA YouTube channel. If you guys are interested, be sure to check it out. Yeah, I mean, I stopped posting and now I started posting again. Last video was a year ago, and now I started posting on this channel. So be sure to look out for some videos on that if you're interested about NBA content like that. But yeah, but this live stream, this channel is going to be mostly MMA, or really all MMA, honestly. What's your thoughts on Jared Cannonier versus MVP? Just got made for 319 August. By the way, that 319 card is insane. The main event of Hamzat versus DDP is an insane fight. I think out of the fights that we really wanted, John Jones versus Tom Aspinall, Ilya versus Islam. The third one was always Hamzat versus DDP. At least we're getting one of those. What's up? Nice nickname or nice username. But yeah, anyways, so yeah, that was always one of the fights that that we really wanted to see. So it was nice to see that we're finally getting it. But in terms of Cannonier versus MVP, this is a really weird fight. Usually, when you talk about guys um, like older guys like that, usually you match them up against a younger up and comer to try to potentially boost the young up and comer, or you give one of these older guys like a fight ahead of them in the rankings to help get them closer to a title shot. But this is a weird one. MVP is like I think number 15th ranked guy. Let's quickly dive over, take a look. Cannonier. Well, Michael Page, yes, is number 15th ranked guy. And where is Cannonier? I'm looking at the wrong weight class. Yes, I am. And Cannonier is number 7 at middleweight. So moving up for MVP. Interesting. Um, I don't know. It's a really weird fight, to be honest. I mean, I would lean with Cannonier. He's going to be the bigger guy. He has more success as of late. He is coming off a win, but that MVP style is tough to figure out, man. It's really tough to figure out. So weird fight. But if I had to say, I'll lean with Cannonier. He honestly could even look to wrestle a little bit in this fight. That style just gives a lot of problems to everybody. That MVP style. But if Cannonier is able to get in close, I think he'll be able to land some shots. If he's able to get the fight alongside the cage, I think that's where he really wants it. And even the fight on the ground, I think that's where he really wants it. I think the strength difference in this fight is going to be immense. The question is, does Cannonier have the wrestling ability to consistently take down MVP? And does he have the ability to consistently go for 3 rounds? Is he going to tire out but from all the wrestling because he's not used to wrestling? Who knows? So we'll see what happens in that fight. So that definitely is an interesting one. Let's see what else. But yeah, besides the Cannonier fight, obviously we have that Hamzat fight. I have a video ad on it already. Maybe some of you already saw it. Maybe you know my opinions on this. But as I said, I think it's an amazing fight. Really, really good fight. And it could go either way. I think it's going to be determined, though, by the first round. I think if Dricus is able to make it out of the first round, I think he has a real shot to win this fight. And I honestly think I'll favor him to win this fight. But obviously, Hamzat round 1 is probably the best fighter I've ever seen in my life. The fact that he's able to take essentially everybody down, he's able to find a submission, he's able to land ground and pound shots. He's just a nightmare to deal with in the first round. And I think that extends to even a guy like DDP, who has yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that name is. But anyways, but yeah, so I just think if TDP is able to survive round 1, he has a real chance to win this fight. But Hamzat round 1 is very dangerous, and I wouldn't be surprised if Hamzat is able to find that finish. But as I said, check back my video if you want a little bit of a more in-depth breakdown on it. But as I said in my video, I do think DDP is going to win. I think he's going to be able to survive round 1. I think his wrestling ability is going to come in handy. Hamzat is definitely a better wrestler, but I think DDP is going to be able to make Hamzat work a lot more than he's used to in that first round. And I think if he's able to, even if he gets taken down, which I expect he will, I think he's going to be able to survive some of those positions. And if he is able to survive round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, Hamzat is going to be way more tired and a lot easier to fight and a lot easier to beat. So yeah, I do think DDP is going to be able to pull this out, but this is honestly really a 50-50 fight. It's going to be determined by the first round. From a betting perspective, I will say, obviously Hamzat is a pretty big favorite already at this point, but if Hamzat wins round 1, but he doesn't get a finish, I think it's a good opportunity to maybe go with DDP, maybe take a shot on DDP. He's going to be a bigger underdog at that point than he is pre-fight, most likely at least. And we really haven't seen Hamzat have too much success outside of round 1. Maybe the Gilbert Burns fight. He was able to, go to a decision and win a couple rounds, obviously not just round 1. But even then, I mean, he gassed out a little bit in that fight, and there wasn't too much wrestling at all in that one. So if he goes all out for the wrestling in round one and he's not able to finish DDP, I do think that does favor DDP if I'm going to be honest. Um, but yeah, that's an interesting one. Let's see. Do we have anything else interesting coming up? So yeah, we already touched upon 317. Or actually, you know what? Let's do it. Let's talk about Pantoja versus Kai Kara France. Lower weight class. I know guys aren't too interested in that, but let's talk about it a little bit. So Kai Kara France versus what's up? What's up? Kai Kara France versus Pantoja is an interesting one. I definitely lean with Pantoja here. I think Kai Kara France is a decent fighter, good takedown defense, has a really nice right hand, has a decent left hook. But I think mostly what you see with him is he's kind of like a knockout or bust kind of guy. I mean, not always, but I think for the most part, that's really what he is. And I think we're going to see that more in this fight versus Pantoja. I think Pantoja has shown to have a great chin. Obviously, 125, it's harder to get knockouts, knockdowns, all that stuff. Anyway, and I just think the skill difference is decent, honestly, between Pantoja and KKF. So if Pantoja can avoid that right hand, if he can look for takedowns, take this fight to the ground, and honestly, I think it could be a round two, round three submission for Pantoja. He's just so good on the ground. His jiu-jitsu is probably better than anyone else that I've seen. Obviously, Charles Oliveira has great submission ability, great jiu-jitsu. Different weight class, though. It's a little bit different. But for 125, Pantoja's skill and his jiu-jitsu, his submission ability is just bar none. He's just very good. So yeah, I would lean with him. And as I said, the keys for him is just avoid that right hand and avoid that left hook after it. Obviously, a lot easier said than done, but yeah, that's what I would say for him. Um, but yeah, looking at some other fights, let's see what's there to talk about in MMA. The problem with MMA lately, there's not much to talk about, which has been a problem. But as I said, I want to live stream a lot more. I want to talk to you guys a lot more. I love the questions. I love interacting with you guys, and I really appreciate you guys for even being here. Thanks so much, seriously. What else do we got? We got Roy Val versus Josh Van. This is an interesting one as well. Josh Van just fought like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and he's already going to fight again against Roy Val. I lean Van, honestly, I really do. I think Van is really good. I think his boxing is just really, really good. I think we're talking about a Peter Yan level boxer. I think it's that good. And for Rival, he's going to want to keep this fight at range. He's going to want to utilize that jab. He's going to want to utilize that left straight. He's going to want to utilize his weapons and keep the fight at range. But for Van, he's going to look to pressure. I'm sure this entire fight is going to be pressure from Josh Van. And if he's able to avoid that left straight, I think he's going to win this fight. But yeah, interesting one. Let's look at some other fights. What else we got here? On this card, Beneil Dariush versus Moicano. I think Moicano wins. This is a rebook from a prior card where Moicano fought Islam. He was supposed to originally fight Dariush. So they're putting that fight back together. Interesting one. Honestly, I think Moicano wins this fight. For Paulo, next fight is Paulo Costa versus Kopylov. I think Paulo should win if he was a Paulo of old, but he's already been this weird Paulo where he doesn't do too much, just uses footwork, stays on the outside, uses a jab, an occasional left straight, not too much power on his shots, and he just loses decisions, which kind of feels like that's what's going on with Paulo Costa lately. And also, he doesn't fight ever. I don't even know the last time he fought. Let's see. Can I pull this up? When was the last time Paulo Costa fought? Last time he fought was against Strickland, and not as long as I thought, actually. About a year ago, June 1st of 2024. So not as long as I thought, but still decent gap between fights. But yeah, as I said, based on that and based on Paulo as of late, how he's been looking, all that stuff, I would lean towards Kopylov in this fight. But it should be honestly a fun one. Probably going to be on the feet. G-Rod versus Jack Hermanson. All right. I think Hermanson's going to win. He's probably going to stay on the outside, utilize that jab, leg kicks. I don't think it's going to be that great of a fight, to be honest. If G-Rod wins his fight and is able to fight this fight at his pace and style, it's going to be a good one. But if Hermansson's going to be able to utilize his style, utilize footwork, jab, right straight, kicks, it's going to be probably kind of like a pitter patter fight. He's just going to, jab and leg kick his way to a decision. So we'll see what happens there. Next, we got Tafa and Deans. Actually, I think this fight is off. I think Deans is fighting someone else, a newcomer, I believe. I don't know who that newcomer is, but I saw that on X. So let me try to pull that up, actually. Let's see. Also, if you guys haven't already, be sure to follow me on X at MMA_juicy. Yeah, it's a newcomer. I don't know exactly who it is, but yes, that fight is not going to be happening. But okay. But yeah, outside of that, then we have the Derek Lewis to Teixeira card. Actually not a bad card, to be honest. Is this? This is not a Apex. That's probably why. Then yes, we have the Holloway fight that we touched upon a little bit. Then we have Whitaker, DeRitter. I think there's a real chance for DeRitter, by the way, but we'll see what happens there. Then Tyra versus Albayev. All right. Andre Lima's on that card. That's a weird one, actually. Why do they always put Andre Lima on in the Apex? I think Andre Lima is a pretty exciting fighter, and he's a nice up-and-comer as well. But yeah, not too much. I mean, we kind of touched upon everything that's coming up soon, at least. So yeah. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, I'm just jumping back and forth between YouTube and Kick just to check out if anyone has any questions or anything like that. All right. Let's just check back. And also, if you guys have any suggestions about stuff I should talk about or even things I should do on these live streams, react to certain things, do certain stuff like that, I'm definitely willing to do it. We could definitely look into it and have some fun in these live streams. I mean, let's see. Yep, there we go. We're good with that. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit new to this live stream thing. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. But should be fun. I really appreciate all of you guys that decided to join me here on this live stream. Yeah, it really just doesn't seem like there's much else to talk about, to be honest, unfortunately. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to check out some of my videos if you haven't already. I'll be sure to be live streaming a lot more. I don't have necessarily a schedule for how often I'm going to live stream at this point. I'll probably be wise to do that, let you guys know when to expect me. But for now, I'm probably just going to be coming on live, maybe twice, maybe 3 times a week. Discuss some fights with you guys. Hopefully get more news with MMA. As I said, there just hasn't really been much lately. And yeah, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you did, be sure to check out videos, follow me on X. Let me just bring it up. Let me just shout myself out a little bit before we depart. So let's see. Bear with me. There we go. Sorry. I'm a little bit slow with this stuff. There we go. So yeah, be sure to follow me on X. Ooh, let's see how this aged. Islam at UFC 311. Yes, he did win. Trickus at 312. Yes, he did win. Shavkat versus Belal. I didn't say anything there. It's interesting. But Ilya's going to destroy Charles. Yes. I think so. Yeah, I don't know. I read it like that. But yes, I think he's going to win as well, honestly. But yeah, but be sure to check out this my X page. I don't post that much, honestly. Last post was June 7th. I gotta get on that. Come on, man. But be sure to follow me there, as I said. Shout out my YouTube again. This is NBA. I'm getting back into this a little bit. Honestly, I'm gonna probably live stream a little bit on NBA as well. I'm really going all in with this stuff. So you definitely be sure to keep up to date. I'm going to be posting a lot more. A lot more things are coming. Videos, live streams, X posts, um, and yeah, there's just going to be a lot. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Well, I'll give you guys a little bit more time. Honestly, why not? Uh, it's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, be sure to let me know. I'll definitely answer them. Let's see. Let's see. Let's check out Twitter. Is there any news coming out or anything? Let's see. Hmm. We got NBA free agency coming up soon. A lot of big things coming up. A lot of big things. But yeah, for MMA, there really hasn't been much. Honestly, that's part of the problem with the UFC. Um, we get a good card at 317. Um, what's up, Joshua? What's up? Howdy from Texas. Very nice. How are you? How are you doing? You have any questions, any fights you want to know about, any predictions, anything like that? Be sure to let me know. But anyways, what I was saying before was it's kind of a problem with the UFC. There's just not a lot. We get like one really good card with 317. That's a really good one. Ilya Charles, a lot of other good fights on that card as well. But outside of that, there's just like not that much. I will give them the credit. They're getting out of the Apex a little bit more. Last or yesterday, we had a fight that wasn't in the Apex, which was nice. Finally, this upcoming weekend, we have another fight night that's not in the Apex. Thank God, and it's a pretty good one too. And then we have a really good pay per view after that. And I think after that, we might be going back to the Apex. But it's part of the problem, though. There's just not, you know, that much to talk about sometimes. But yeah, it's a problem, I guess. Um, really, not a lot of news. Um, what are some headlines? John Jones. Yeah, John Jones is never fighting. Um, ironically, I think if Francis came back and the UFC's like, all right, Francis versus John Jones, I think John would fight him. I just think he doesn't want to fight Tom for one reason or the other. Is he scared of him? Maybe to an extent. I don't know. Um, but maybe he just thinks in his mind. Obviously, it's not true. I mean, Aspinall's the interim champ. Obviously, he proved himself. He just hasn't been given the opportunity to fight guys because he's waiting for John Jones for so long. But maybe in John's mind, um, he's thinking like, I don't know, this guy's unproven or whatever. Even though he's the interim champ, makes no sense at all. But maybe in his mind, that's what he thinks. So if Francis came back, he's like, oh, he's a former champ. He's more proven. He does more for my legacy, so maybe he would want to fight him. But I don't know. I think they just strip John Jones and give the belt to Tom. Have Tom fight Francis. That's an amazing fight, and we'll see. Joshua says Fuzi versus Bahamundes. What's your pick? Um, I really like Fiziev. I think he's a really good fighter. I just think his physicality at 155 isn't there. So honestly, I think I'm leaning Bahamundes. I think that length, head kicks, left or right straights, jabs are going to be big in this fight. But if Fiziev is able to get on that inside, I think he's going to piece up Bahamundes. I think he's honestly the more talented fighter. It just when he's landing, is it going to have an effect on Bahamundes? I don't know. At least the same way that if Bahamundes is able to land a big left straight, a big head kick, who knows? Like that could knock out Fiziev. So I think the power difference is going to be there, and we'll see what happens. I think really when you look at Fiziev's last few fights against Justin Gaethje, both of them, I think his skill is there. He's obviously good enough to fight Justin Gaethje, to beat Justin Gaethje. But I just think the physicality difference is fast. Gaethje is able to take a shot, and Fiziev really wasn't able to hurt him. And in that second fight, Gaethje was able to hurt Fiziev. He was able to drop him. Even in their first fight, he was landing a decent amount, able to hurt Fiziev a little bit in that fight. So I just think the physicality is not there. I really think Fiziev should move down to 145. I think he'll have a lot of success there. Takedown defense is great. Boxing is great. Kicks, tremendous kicks. I think he can have a lot of success, but maybe he's not able to cut to 150 or 145. Maybe he's just more comfortable at 155. That's where he wants to stay. Um, so yeah, maybe I don't know. I mean, there's a lot more factors than just power. So yeah, maybe he just can't move to 145. But we'll see. As I said, my pick probably is Mundes, but it's an interesting one. Fiziev wins. He's good in the pocket, and he can close distance with Bahamondes. I honestly, I think so too. I agree. Actually, I think he's very good in the pocket. I think he could close distance with Bahamondes. The question that I raise is when he lands, because he will land, I do believe it. Um, is the physicality going to be there? Is he going to be able to hurt Bahamondes? I don't know. Maybe he will. But a lot of his fights at 155, when you look at his Gaethje fight, some of his other fights, he just hasn't really shown an ability to hurt his opponents. That's the only reason why I'm questioning it. But skill for skill, I think Fiziev is better than Bahamondes. I really do. Um, but we'll see. I'll have to agree. I think Fiziev is undersized at lightweight. Yeah, he's just undersized, and the power just doesn't translate as much. When he was coming up, I mean, he had a few knockouts on his record. Um, but I think when you talk about some of these guys at the top of 155, some of these more durable guys, when you look at the top of all these divisions, honestly, these guys are skilled, obviously, but another reason why they're at the top of the divisions, they're just very durable. So if you don't have a lot of power in your hands, it makes it very tough to win. Volkanovski, I think, is an outlier. He does have enough power to knock out some guys with volume, but overall, he's not going to be a guy that knocks too many fighters out. He's going to have to win by decision. So to do that, you're obviously going to have to be very defensively sound and not get hit all that much, because if you're relying on getting victories over a 5-round decision, you obviously have to avoid a lot of shots to avoid getting knocked out. But also on top of that, you have to be very skilled. And Volkanovski is very skilled. But when you look at a lot of these other guys, champions or guys at the top of these weight classes, a Charles Oliveira that we were touching upon before, Ilya Taporia that we were touching upon before, Hamza Chimaev even, or a Dricus, these guys all have knockout power. Yes, they're very skilled. Yes, they're able to land those shots. Um, but with that knockout power, it completely changes everything. I mean, when you look back at that Ilya fight versus Max Holloway, that fight was relatively competitive. I think Ilya was probably winning, but Max was having a decent amount of success. But what was the difference maker? The power. Ilya's power, he landed a couple shots early, stunned Max a little bit. Max was able to land a few shots on Ilya, didn't do all that much. What happened though? Ilya, I believe it was a right hand. It was like a shift combo right hand. He was able to land, really like opened Max's eyes, hurt him, and not too long from there, Ilya was able to land a combo, land a beautiful left hook, and knocked him out from there. So that power is just a huge difference in MMA in general. So that's why I think Fiziev should move down to 145. I think his power is going to be significantly better there. I don't think he has no power. I just think for 155, he's a little bit undersized. Um, I think we're in for a scrap regardless of who wins. I agree. I think it's going to be a really, really fun fight. Both guys very action packed, both of them. And yeah, it should be a good one. A 5-rounder would have to be a problem for Fiziev, but a 3-rounder and Fiziev won't lose his explosiveness. Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, we have seen a couple times in that 3rd round versus Gaethje where he lost his explosiveness a little bit, but yeah, against Bahamondes, I agree. I think he'll be able to survive for 3 rounds, or not survive, but have his explosiveness for 3 rounds. And yeah, I mean, he's one of the more explosive guys in all of MMA. The kicks that he's able to throw from range, get on the inside, and throw a bunch of hooks, body head. This guy's really good. Versus Royval, too big of a jump for Van. Big jump for sure. I don't think it's too big though. I think Van is that good. I think he honestly has Peter Yan boxing. Like not as good probably, but similar level. When this guy is able to get on the inside, he's a nightmare. Body shots are beautiful. Every one of his fights we see, his body shots are beautiful. hooks to the head, jabs to the head, right straights to the head. This guy is very good, and his pressure is honestly also very good as well. Pretty underrated, honestly. I think Van is legit. I don't know if I know it's a big step up. I don't know if he's going to beat Royval. Royval is very good. I believe he's a number one contender. Is he the number one contender? Let's see. Yeah, he's a number one contender. So certainly a very big step up. Um, but we'll see. I think for Van, he just has to avoid that left straight and jab and just pressure and get on that inside. If he's able to do that, I think he could have a lot of success. Now, is he going to win? I don't know. I'm not sure. I think, and well, honestly, if I had to give my prediction, I think he does win actually. But I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Royval is proven. He beat a lot of guys. He beat Brandon Moreno. He beat a bunch of fighters at 125. Yes, he didn't beat Pantoja, but Pantoja is beating everybody. So that's something. One thing I will say about Van, though, he's very skilled, but he doesn't have the physicality. Similar to Fiziev at 155, Van is landing big on a lot of these guys. I know it's a lower weight class. I know these guys don't hit as hard. It's a lot harder to knock out guys and drop guys. But the amount of shots that Van is landing on his opponents is a bunch. Like he's landing a ton of shots on his opponents, hooks to the head, hooks to the body. And yes, he did just get a TKO finish, so that was good for him. But for the most part, a lot of the shots that he's getting just they're adding up. He's having success, obviously, but he's not necessarily like knocking guys out, as maybe you would expect for some other fighters. Like especially the amount of shots this guy's landing. So interesting. We'll see what happens. I don't think Van is ready. I mean, we'll see. He may not be. Maybe I'm overrating him. Maybe I'm underrating Royval. Royval obviously does have a lot of experience. He does. I mean, he has a lot of wins under his belt. Let's just call it how it is. And it definitely will be not an easy fight for Van. But yeah, as I said, I think this fight honestly will be determined on who could establish their game. If Van can pressure Royval for the entire fight, get him alongside his back, alongside that cage, that's where he wants to fight. But if Royval can avoid some of the pressure, I think he's going to get pressure regardless. But if he's going to be able to avoid some of that pressure, maybe he can start to land jabs, left straights, keep the fight at range, utilize his movement, and maybe he can win from there. So I think the real estate of where this fight is fought is going to determine who wins. I'm rooting for Van. Hopefully, he can pull this off. Yeah, me too. Honestly, I'm a big fan of Josh Van. He's very active, young guy, exciting fighter, bright future, I think. And yeah, I mean, should be fun. We'll see what happens with Josh Van. Should be a good one. Let's see. What else? What else do we got here? Is this working? Let's see. I just want to try kick. Yes, for kick is working. All right. I will try to do that. Okay. Anyways, so let's see. He might be able to pull off a split decision or even a unanimous, but Revival is a much bigger step up for him in terms of competition. Oh, no question about that. Who did Van just fight? I think it was Lima or something. I'm forgetting. I know his face. I'm just forgetting his name. Let's see. Who did he just fight? He just fought. Where's Van? Was he on the prelims? Here we go. Yeah, he just fought Bruno Silva. That's what it was. Yeah, I mean, obviously from Bruno Silva to Royval, a huge step up. Huge step up. But we'll see. I mean, guys have had steps up in the past. It doesn't mean just because it's a huge step up doesn't mean they can't win. Obviously, I mean, I think Van is really good, and I personally think he's a top 5 guy, maybe even higher than that. We'll see what happens, but yeah, it's a huge step up. It's definitely going to be something that he's not used to. Royval is going to obviously be significantly better. He's also going to introduce more things that Van has not really seen in the past. A guy who's super, super lanky like that, a lot of length, that is going to try to keep him on the outside. I mean, a lot of guys try to keep Van on the outside. That's how you beat Van. It's just guys have not been able to do it. So let's see. I mean, maybe a guy like Royval is going to be able to do it. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, so Van fight should be a good one. And honestly, kudos to Van for fighting so often. He just fought on the last pay per view, UFC 316, which was June 7th last week. And he's fighting on 317, June 28th, which is what, 2 weeks, a week and a half, like not this weekend, the weekend after. Um, so, so yeah, very interesting. Let's see. Let's see what do we got here. Let's see. Anyone on the kick stream? You guys have any questions? Talbot versus Lima. What a scrap. Yeah, that should be a good one. Talbot's obviously coming off a pretty disappointing loss. But yeah, that should be a good one as well. Lima. Wow, why can I not picture Lima? That's let's see. Let me go next real quick. Wait, what's who's he fighting? Who's Lima? What's his first name? Let's go Peyton Talbot. Let's take a look. Let's see. Salam. I'm scared for Charles. Yeah. Yeah, me too. I'm a fan of Charles. I think the power is going to be interesting, but why can't I think of it? Who's Lima? Joshua, do you know Lima's first name? Because I saw that Talbot is fighting. I can't remember who's fighting. Let's see. For some reason, I can't find it. Oh, Felipe Lima. Okay. I got it. I was actually surprised Felipe Lima hasn't fought in a while. I thought he's really good. He's legitimately a really good fighter. He fights out of Hamzat's old gym. In my opinion, it's a really good gym over there. I'm surprised Hamzat left. Anyways, Lima's a really good fighter. Talbot obviously is good as well. But he is coming off a little bit of a disappointing fight in his last one. Indonesia. Hello from Indonesia. Salam. But yeah, what was I saying? But yeah, it's obviously Talbot is coming off a disappointing fight in his last one, versus Barcelos. But I think Barcelos is just a good fighter. I mean, he did just also beat Cody Garbrandt. Obviously, Talbot is going to need to work on his wrestling, but I don't know how much Lima is going to go to it. He's mostly a striker. He also has really good jiu-jitsu as well. So if the fight goes to the ground, maybe Talbot needs to, be mindful of possible submission attempts from Lima. Lima is coming off a submission. Was that his last fight? That's the next question. Let's see. Felipe Lima. Let's see. Felipe Lima's last fight. Oh no, he fought. Okay, never mind. That wasn't his last fight. He fought Miles Johns in his last one, a decision victory. But yeah, when he fought Naimov, he got a sub, a third round submission in a fight that he was probably losing. Glad they added fights to International Fight Week. 9 fights would have been 11. Yeah, for sure. 9 fights is way too short, especially for International Fight Week. You want more fights than that. But yeah, what else we got here? Let's see. So yeah, I mean, for going back to the Talbot Lima fight, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's going to be much wrestling in this. I think it's just going to be a scrap, as you said, Joshua. I think these guys are both going to look to strike. And yes, Talbot's last performance wasn't great, but it was mostly because he couldn't stop the takedown. I don't think that's going to be a factor in this fight that much. Maybe Lima will look to wrestle a little bit. I think he's going to be better than Talbot in terms of his wrestling. So we'll see. Maybe how much success Barcelos was able to have against him. Maybe Lima does look to wrestle a little bit. But for the most part, I think this is going to be on the feet. And if it is on the feet, I think Talbot has a really good chance to win. I think people are underrating him a little bit too much. It's people were extremely high in Talbot originally, thinking that this guy was going to be a champion. He's going to fight Sean O'Malley. He was going to beat Sean O'Malley, which who knows? I mean, still young. Maybe he will become a top 5 guy if he makes improvements to his wrestling. But after losing to Barcelos the way he did, I think it's a little bit too much of an overcorrection. Now people are saying Talbot's terrible. He's not going to be anything, whatever. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think Talbot is still a really good fighter. He does have a really good power for 135. He does have really good abilities. He is a pretty good striker. And I think he is going to have a lot of success against most guys. So yeah, I think this should be a good fight. This should be a really good fight. So we'll see what happens with that. Let's see. What else do we got here? Oh, I'm seeing it on my timeline is NBA stuff. Kevin Durant. Wait, what? They're made it clear. Deciding against procedure. Okay. All right. Whatever. Yeah. Let's see what's up, boys. Let's read some of these comments. So, someone actually posted that Hill won't be able to make it to Bacau because of the ongoing dispute between Iran and Israel. Oh, is that true? Oh, I don't know. That actually could be true. That could be interesting. Yeah, that's yeah. All right. Yeah. If that main event is off, that would be a huge blow. Honestly. Benil versus Moicano. I think Moicano. Ooh, actually, I don't know. Interesting one. My initial thoughts are Moicano. Benil is just he lost a couple knockouts in a row, I believe, for Benil. Is getting a little bit older, but at the same time, I mean, he's still really good. I think people underrate Benil a little bit. But I think I lean Moicano a little bit. Close fight though. I don't know what the odds are, but close fight. I think Benil has a good chance to upset. I would agree. I don't know what the odds are, but I think Benil is still a really good fighter. A little bit older at this point, but still, I think I would agree. Someone posted, yeah, that's what I just read. Yeah, so I mean, if Jamal Hill's out, yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. We'll see what happens. Coming from a Moicano fan, yeah. I'm a fan of Moicano as well. Who you got winning the NBA championship? Thunder. I think Thunder are gonna win. I'm rooting for Moicano, although Benil is my Iranian brother. Hell yeah, let's go. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I kind of like both guys. I like Moicano, and I also like Benil. Who am I rooting for? I don't know, to be honest. Maybe I'm rooting for Moicano, but I like both guys, and I think this honestly is pretty close to a 50-50 fight. But we'll see what happens. Moicano and Benil are the same age. That's crazy. That's crazy, actually. That happens a lot in MMA. I feel a lot of these guys that were like perceived to be prospects or young guys turn out to be like pretty old. Like just this last week, or not last week, yesterday. Let me go back. Who was I talking about? Bear with me for a second, boys. Wellmaker, Malcolm Wellmaker. He's perceived to be a prospect, which I mean he is, but he is 31 at the same time. He's not that old. I mean, sorry, he's not that young. So it's kind of interesting to see like guys that are Wellmaker's 31. It's actually kind of crazy. Like guys that you think are young and up and coming or whatever. And well, listen, I'm not saying Wellmaker's not going to be good. I think he is very good. He has a ton of power. But it's just kind of crazy sometimes. You see these guys, you're like, oh, a nice young up and comer. You look at his age, he's like 34. It's like, what the? There's another example of that. I'm forgetting who that is. The other example is what's the other example? It's the guy from Australia. What's his name? Olberg. Olberg is seen like as a guy who's a young up and comer. He's 35. It's kind of crazy just to think about. Um, but yeah, so it's interesting. Benil looks like a school teacher, whereas Moicano looks like younger. Yes. Yeah, that's why it's kind of crazy that they're the same age. He does look like a school teacher. And honestly, if you told me, oh shit, what the fuck is that? Anyways, if you told me, Moicano was like a young up and comer, I probably would believe you. But yeah, at this point, he's a little bit older. Anyways, Hamzat DDP, who do you got? I touched upon it a little bit. I lean towards DDP, but the first round determines the fight. The first round really does determine the fight. If DDP is able to survive round one, I think he's going to get taken down. I think he's going to get put in bad situations. Although I think DDP is so good. Um, if he's able to survive round one, I think Hamzat's just going to slowly gas out, and DDP is going to be able to push through and land shots consistently, head kicks. He's just going to throw a lot at Hamzat. It's going to be a lot to worry about, a lot to tire him out potentially. Um, and yeah, I do think that that DDP will win in the end. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if Hamza just runs through DDP, takes him down round one, finds ground and pound shots, finds a submission. I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. This guy has been so dominant, and yeah, but yes, DDP has plot armor, bro. I mean, it just he just finds out a way to win. Ridiculous physicality. I talked about this before with other guys. DDP is a prime example of why physicality is so important. He can take a shot better than probably anyone else. He has a ton of power in his hands. He has a ton of power in his kicks. He just pushes through. His cardio is insane. He just pushes through, even if it looks like he's tired. A second later, a perfect example, the Izzy fight. In that third round or fourth round, there was a point where DDP went to the ground, or maybe he was taking a couple shots. He was on one knee. It looked like he was tired, super tired. What happens a second later? He gets up, he throws a DDP combination at Izzy, then finds a takedown, then submits Izzy. I mean, this guy just he has plot armor. He just figures it out. Um, so yeah, I think DDP could honestly really win this fight. I would lean towards DDP, to be honest, but Hamzat has been so dominant. I mean, could you really be surprised if he takes down DDP and submits him? No. So interesting fight, really good one. I think this is the best fight in the UFC right now. Best fight they could possibly make, I think. Um, well, maybe Ilya Islam, but it doesn't look like that's happening. But yeah, Khalil or Hill. I lean towards Khalil. As you said, like, is this fight even going to happen? I don't know. We'll see. But I lean towards Khalil. I think he's just going to be way faster than Hill, and the footwork's going to be better, and that left straight is going to land. Hill has a lot of power, but honestly, lately against Yuri and against Pereira, he's been having problems landing that left hand. So we'll see what happens with that. So somehow in my mind, I feel like DDP is going to somehow win. Yeah, he just figures it out. I mean, if it looks pretty, if it doesn't look pretty, usually for DDP, it does not look pretty. But he just figures things out. Uh, um, so yeah, as I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins. And honestly, I think I favor him. If DDP survives submission attempts and takedowns for at least 2 rounds, he wins. 100% agree. 100% agree. I think if he survives submission attempts round one and maybe ground and pound shots round one, I really think he can win this fight. Just round one, Hamzat he goes all out in round one, and in round two he could be gassed already. But yes, after 2 rounds, if he's able to survive, I definitely would favor DDP at that point. I think he could find a finish, honestly. But even if not, even if it's a decision, rounds 3 through 5, I think are going to be pretty easy for DDP, significantly easier than rounds 1 and round 2, if he's able to make it there, obviously, which is the question. If Hamzat wins, how active do you think he's going to be? It's a good question. Well, it seems like before he wasn't able to come to the US. Now he is, obviously, fighting in Chicago. Hamzat's a weird one. When you look back a few years ago, this guy was fighting a ton. He fought twice in 2 weeks or 10 days, whatever it was. And after that, it just seemed like he didn't fight at all. But I think it was mostly because he couldn't come to the US. He could only fight in Abu Dhabi, and they go there once a year. Excuse me. So I think that was part of it. I think he's gonna be not the most active champion, but I think we'll see him twice a year. I think that's sort of what we'll see. Maybe we get lucky, maybe we see him 3 times a year once, but I think twice a year, we'll see him as, if he doesn't get sick, yeah, I mean, assuming and that's honestly the best case scenario, assuming he stays healthy in terms of no injuries and also in terms of him not getting sick. But if he does get sick, probably see him once a year or less. Maybe he doesn't fight an entire year. That's a problem with Hamzat. He trains a ton, which is great. I mean, obviously he's a great fighter and all that training has paid off, but at the same time he pushes like too hard when he probably shouldn't. When he's a little bit sick, like, take the day off, but it just seems like he's not able to do that and he gets very sick because of it. Um yeah, so yes, so Joshua, I think he'll fight probably twice a year. That'll be my guess, which is more than some other champions. So John Jones hasn't fought in like 10 years. So that's not bad. 2 years is not bad, I guess. Probably more active because he got a title shot pretty late, probably. Yeah, I agree. I also agree. I don't think he's gonna want to waste that much time. People are talking about this guy like he should have got or should have been the champion like 2 years ago. When he was at 170. So yeah, I agree. I think he's going to have more pressure on him just to push harder and fight more. I think he's going to want to build his legacy a little bit more at this point. So yes, I think he's going to be a little bit more active. My guess is twice a year. Maybe we'll see him 3 times a year though. We'll see. But uh, but yeah, do I watch boxing? If I'm gonna be honest, I'm a casual for boxing. I watch the big boxing fights for sure. I'm definitely gonna be watching Canelo versus Crawford. And yes, I watched the big fights. I did watch Garcia and Haney, and I also watched this other card, Haney and um, can't remember his name, blanking out. But the card in New York, and then Garcia and also blanking out. Uh, Obviously, those were boring fights. Listen, I will say this about boxing though. I think when boxing is good, there's very few things that are better than it, if any at all. Um, when boxing is on, boxing is on. The problem with boxing is when you get that card, that New York card that we saw a few weeks ago or a month ago, whatever. That's a problem with boxing. When it's just, like, slow pace like that, a lot of clinching, and just not much action going on. That's where I think boxing loses some of its potential fans, but you can say the same with MMA. MMA, I would say, is more active, for the most part, but I think you see a little bit less of that, clinching, stalling, defense, jabs, like only jabs. I think you see a little bit less of that. Um, Taporia KOs Oliveira round one. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I think this is like a 3-round fight max, 2-round fight most likely. Um, but yeah, KO round one for Ilya I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, I'm a fan. As I said, I'm a fan of both guys. Do I have a water? Yeah, 1 second, boys. Uh, Throat's killing me. But yeah, I would lean with Ilya to win that fight, and yeah, if he wins, I think it's KO. Um, Anyways, Ryan says, "Who do you got for Canelo Crawford?" As I said, I'm kind of a casual. I don't really know. But I mean, I saw them fight. I think I would lean with Crawford. Canelo's last fight wasn't that impressive, and Crawford, he's putting on a lot of impressive performances. He had that beatdown on when he unified the belts. Oh man, I really blank out with boxing. I just can't remember guys' names, but I remember their faces. Spence, Spence Jr. It was an amazing performance by Crawford, insane. So I think I lean with Crawford, but the power, Canelo's probably going to be a little bit bigger, or maybe a lot bigger. It's definitely going to be interesting, but yeah, I think I lean Crawford. Blades Blades win because he has faced much better competition. Yeah, I agree. Weird fight, honestly, that they're putting this together. Blades is a top 5 contender, and they're giving this guy, I think it's his first fight in the UFC. They're giving him a top 5 contender right away. I mean, Kaya Sakura got a title shot in his first fight, but so I guess it's not that weird. But um, that's just interesting. But yeah, I always thought Blades could be a champion. He just doesn't have the IQ for it, unfortunately. Um, Blades is a good fighter. I really do. He's good on the feet. He's fast. He has good technique, good jab, good right straight, can switch stances, good kicks, good wrestling. He's a good fighter. It just he doesn't have the IQ. I think that's the big problem with Blades. Um, and yeah. But in this fight, I think he should win. He better win. I mean, this is a big step down in competition for him. Um, and yeah. What's next for Taporia if he wins the belt? Any predictions? If Taporia wins the belt, let's see. Let's go through the rankings a little bit. Taporia wins the belt. Let me show you guys this quickly. If Taporia wins the belt, um, other possible contenders: Armin Saryukian, Gaethje. I do not think Gaethje should get a title shot though, unless he fights again. Holloway, we talked about it a little bit before. Holloway's going to need to win 2 fights to get a title shot. Okay, this is what I want to happen. If Taporia wins the belt, I want them to make Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. I think it's a very winnable fight for Paddy. If you guys watched some of my other videos in the past, I didn't think, and I still don't think Paddy is that great. But he's better than I thought he was, and I think, if, what's his face? If, they match up Gaethje versus Paddy, I think that's a very winnable fight for Paddy, honestly. If he's able to take, Justin to the ground, Justin really doesn't know what he's doing on the ground, and Paddy has amazing jiu-jitsu. So if he's able to get the fight there, I think it's an easy submission, easy night for Paddy. So as I said, if Ilya wins against Charles, and if they do Gaethje versus Paddy and Paddy wins, that's the fight, man. That's the fight. Ilya versus Paddy. You know, you lost out on Ilya versus Islam. Maybe we still get it somehow in the future. But if you don't get that, you do Ilya versus Paddy. They have their beef. They're both pretty big stars, honestly. And this fight would make them even bigger stars. You'll make a lot of money pay-per-view wise. You make the fight in Spain. They've been talking about going to Spain forever. Why not? Put in a huge arena, go to Spain, and yeah, go there. Or I mean, you could even go to the UK. Paddy's a huge star over there, obviously. One or the other. I really think that's the fight you make. Um, Winner of Armin versus Justin. Yeah, I mean, if they did Armin versus Justin, then yes, that should be the next title shot. Sorry, I'm just a little behind on your guys' comments. Let's fucking go. Crawford all day. Yeah, I think yeah, it was Errol Spence. Yeah, I think Crawford is gonna win as well. He fights tomato cans and eagle, and suddenly he gets a tie. I completely agree. It is odd. But they just have some guys. Very nice. Hello, my boy from India. Fights 10 again, so he's top 5. Yep, I agree. It is weird that he's fighting a top 5 guy already. Asakura was a champion and superstar in Japan, though. It is, you know what, Joshua? You are right. He was a champion and a superstar in Japan. So it is different. And also the other different thing is Pantoja beat everybody at 125. The UFC literally bought Asakura in. I mean, he was a star, I'm sure, to get some more fans interested in the UFC, but also a huge reason why they brought him in was just to find a guy that could potentially beat Pantoja. Not that they hate Pantoja, but he just beat everybody. It's like, who's next for this guy? So I think that's also a huge reason why they brought in Asakura. Paddy should fight 2 times from a top 6 before he gets a title shot. Listen, I think I would agree. The only reason why I think I would personally like them to do Paddy Gaethje, and then if Paddy wins, do Ilya Paddy, is because that's a huge fight. Um, the pay-per-view, like, there's a lot of excitement for that fight. I think the pay-per-view buys are gonna be really good for that fight. I think the atmosphere in either Spain, you can't make this in the US. It has to be either Spain or the UK. Atmosphere is gonna be amazing. Um, and I just think it's gonna be a fun fight. I mean, I think, listen, if I think Ilya is gonna be Charles Oliveira, I definitely think Ilya is going to beat Paddy Pimblett. Um, Patty surprised me in that Michael Chandler fight. I thought Chandler's going to win, but Chandler just appeared to be a little bit too washed, to be honest. Um, and he just really didn't go for it, it seemed like. But yes, Patty's better than I thought. I will admit I was wrong with Patty in that circumstance, but there's a huge difference between Michael Chandler and Ilia Topuria. I think Ilia Topuria is going to knock out Patty Pimlet. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen, based on principle, I would agree with you that Patty should probably fight twice before he gets a title shot. But just based on the opportunity of making a big fight, selling a lot of pay-per-views, and a fan-friendly fight, I don't hate the idea of one more fight for Patty and doing Ilya versus Patty. I think the UFC is going to really look to push it, and don't be surprised if they look to get if Ilya wins and they look to give Patty a title shot right away. They've done it in the past. I don't agree with it. I don't think they should do that. But don't be surprised if they decide to do that. A lot of times they give stars undeserved title shots. We see that all the time. I hope they don't give Patty a title shot off of Michael Chandler, a washed Michael Chandler win, who was also, I think, the number 7th ranked guy anyway. I hope they don't do that. But don't be surprised if they do that. Tajir, I think Tajir wins, but I'm not really gonna be an easy fight. Yeah, I lean Tajir as well, to be honest. But yeah, it probably should be a competitive fight. Or Tajir. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but yeah, I mean he's a good fighter. He lost to some of the best, I believe. He lost to KKF, I believe. I'm not sure. Let me see. No, actually, I don't think he lost to KKF. Who did he lose to? Let me see. Where is Tajir? Here we go. Oh wait, is this fight off? Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong fight. Yes, I definitely lean Tajir. Who's his last fight? Hey, he's supposed to fight Van. That's an interesting one. He just beat Cody Durden by decision in 2023. Oh, he hasn't fought in a long time. All right, but that's a good win though. He lost to Tim Elliott via decision. It's not a great loss, but okay. And then he also beat Bruno Silva. All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm not very high on Azmat or Azat. Sorry, sorry if I'm botching these pronunciations. But yes, I would lean Tajir. He hasn't fought in a while, but I would lean towards him. I'm not that high on Maskum. Sorry, I'm botching these pronunciations. But yeah. But yeah, what else we got here? This has been so fun, by the way. Definitely want to live stream a lot more, communicate with you guys a little bit more, and yeah, just have fun, talk about fights and whatever. Love the Middle East and Central Asians on the fight card. Hopefully, don't make the card a wrestling fest. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Can't disagree. But let's see. Who specifically do we have on this card? Let's see. Okay, so for the main event, there's not going to be wrestling in that fight. I think we know that. Bahamundes versus Eve, no wrestling in that fight. Blades, there could be wrestling in that one. Honestly, I think that could be a good fight. I mean, Blades is also really good on the feet. So, yeah. Urabai, could see some wrestling in that one. Urabai is coming off an all-time beating, though, in his last fight. That was insane. Salikov versus Moda, that's going to be an amazing fight. Wow, that's going to be a great fight. That's going to be a stand-up affair. Naimov versus Grad, I think there's going to be wrestling in that. I think you're right with that one. I think there's going to be wrestling in that one. The Iron Turtle's back. Probably be wrestling in that one. Tashir, probably some wrestling in that one. Hamdi versus Muhammad Usman, definitely going to be wrestling in that one. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of wrestling in a lot of these fights, to be honest. Do I bet on fights? Yes, I do. I do. I had Kamaru Usman. I bet on Usman yesterday, so that was a good one. I also bet him by TKO. I thought because when you look back at as I said before, I'm not that high on Buckley. But when you look at Buckley's fight versus Chris Curtis, Curtis was able to knock him out by landing shots straight down the pipe, and Usman is known for really good 1-2. So I thought that 1-2 would be a bigger factor in this fight, and I thought he could get a knockout. He didn't. He decided to wrestle because it was so easy. It was so easy for Usman to wrestle. Every shot he went for, rounds 1 through 4, just easy. First shot, easy takedown, hold him down for the entire round. So yeah, so good bet on Usman. Maybe not so great on the TKO, but honestly, I don't even hate the bet. I think it could have happened possibly. So yes, Ryan, I do bet on fights. Um, who would have won between Jazeer and Van? Van said, I think Van would have won for sure. Against Jazeer. Van's takedown defense is insane. We saw it tested a bunch of times, and he stopped a lot of takedowns. And on the feet, this guy's a nightmare. And also, Tajir doesn't really like to get pressured. So the pressure of Joshua Van is going to make it easier for him to stop takedowns because it's a lot harder to shoot for a takedown when you're on the back foot. And B, it's just going to stop a lot of the offense that Tajir would go for on the feet. And yes, I agree with you that Van wins. Tajir is big, but he's not strong enough. I don't think he's strong enough. Yeah, he's big for 125. I agree with you. But yeah, I just don't think he's strong enough, and I think he would have a lot of trouble with the pressure of Joshua Van. Van's the man. I mean, it's simple as that. I think he beats a lot of guys. Good night, bro. Good night. Thanks for joining the chat. I really appreciate the questions. Really appreciate you joining us, and seriously, I really appreciate it. And thanks to all of you guys, to Joshua, to Ryan, to Rob. I really appreciate all of you guys for joining, asking questions, being here. I'm not ending the stream just yet, by the way, but I really appreciate it. As I said, a little bit new to live streaming, and yeah, it's been really fun just talking to you guys. But yeah. Anyways, so what were we talking about? Yeah, so Van wins against Tajir. Yes, I do think so. So what else we got? What else do we got? Oh, man. I was gonna eat an hour ago. I was gonna go on live for well, I was gonna eat and then go on live, but I decided, I want to go on live. I kind of just made a new Kick channel and obviously going live on YouTube. A little bit of a different model. I used to just do no face, just show my screen, but I realized it's probably boring. So I did a new model, just interact with you guys a little bit more as well, which has been fun. Yeah, I mean, we've been live for an hour and a half, which has been great. It's been so fun. And yeah, so I haven't eaten a little bit, but I don't care. This has been great. It's been really fun. But yeah, what do we got here? By the way, would you guys have any interest? Am I trying to make a living on YouTube? Yeah, I am, Brett. Yeah. I mean, I currently have another job, but I really would like to make it on YouTube. I'm really trying to push more YouTube videos. Have been coming out twice a week. Honestly, I kind of want to do even more than that. Maybe even 3 times a week. Reels are coming out. And in terms of live, it's been like very up and down in the past. I'll go live one day and then I won't go live for another 2 or 3 weeks. I think now I want to go live like at least twice a week, honestly. And yeah. I mean, it would be great, honestly, to make a living from YouTube. It is really enjoyable. I mean, I'm not just doing this just for to make a living. I mean, obviously at this point I'm a pretty small channel and I'm still pushing ahead. So like I enjoy it. Yeah, I just enjoy making content. So yeah, and I think live streams is also. I mean, this has been great. As I said, it's another thing that I really enjoy, just interacting with you guys and having fun and yeah. Ryan says you should push betting content and become an affiliate with the sportsbook. They have time to. Yeah, I mean, listen, I do bet, as I said before. I do have predictions. I do have bets that I think are good bets, and yes, I can definitely go on live pre-fight. I mean, I'll yeah, why not? I'll do that. I'm gonna go for UFC 317 like a week before, or maybe 2 weeks before, whatever. Well, not 2 weeks before because that's now. But anyways, I'll probably put together some bets that I like, some value that I like, and on live I'll say, oh, I like this play, I like this play, whatever. Give you guys some free betting advice. I know a lot of people sell picks and all that. The only issue I have with affiliate links for betting is you're kind of incentivized to you're not incentivized, but you make money when your fans lose money. That's how you make money, and I don't like that. That so I am that's why I'm kind of against sponsoring with betting content and getting affiliate links. I mean, we'll see. Maybe I'm misinformed. Maybe it's not exactly that. But I just don't want to like make money when you guys lose money. It's I'm not super into that, obviously. Um, so so yeah, we'll see. But in terms of giving my predictions, best bets, bets that I like, or whatever, I definitely could do it. I haven't done it, but as I said, I do bet almost every card. I try to focus more on pay per views, though. Do a little bit more on pay per views, a little bit more of like a full card breakdown and plays that I like. Obviously, I don't bet every fight, of course. I bet where I see that there's value, but for smaller cards, Apex cards, there's just it's not much value a lot of times. Um, so yeah. But yeah, I mean, as I said, I'll come on live. I'll go through some value on some plays on UFC 317 for pay per views in general. If you guys want to see even fight nights, I mean, this upcoming card next week, Jamal Hill and Rountree, I can we can also talk about some value there if you guys want some free plays. Um, but uh, but yeah, but we'll see what happens with that. Um, but yeah, just doing what I can here, honestly. Um, just trying to continue to make more videos, continue to make better videos. I'm trying to improve my content. I know early on maybe that wasn't the best, and now editing I think is a little bit better. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying it. Um, and and yeah, just trying to come up with video ideas, pushing more videos, getting more videos out, and doing all this stuff. So yeah, so all that is pretty fun, and I really am enjoying the process. Honestly, I really am. Um, so yeah, what else we got here? Okay, let's see. Do we got anything else? But yeah. Oh, yeah. One thing I forgot to ask though. I know this is an MMA channel. Most of you guys are MMA fans. Obviously, we could talk about boxing. We could talk about whatever on these live streams. But would you guys have any interest? Because I do have two channels. Let me pull it up if you guys haven't seen it yet. So this is my other channel. I have an NBA channel. If you guys are interested in NBA videos, be sure to check them out. I'm trying to. I didn't post for a year. I kind of gave up on this channel a little bit. Now I'm back, and I'm going to be trying to post more content on there. But my question for you guys is, if you are interested in NBA, which maybe you guys aren't in this live stream, I know it's an MMA live stream, but if you are interested, would you be interested in me live streaming on that channel and talking mostly about basketball? Uh, Let me know. But if you obviously it's an MMA channel, if you're not interested in that, totally fine. Um, but yeah, I think for now, for the most part, I'm focusing mostly on juicy MMA, but 2 or 3 videos are coming out per week as well on the basketball channel. So I'm really just trying to push out content, doing what I can, try to be a little bit more active on X. If you guys want to follow me, you can ask me questions there. You can talk to me there. I'll certainly answer all your questions. Um, and yeah, and I'll try to post reactions, like instant reactions. Obviously, for videos, they take a little bit of time to make a reaction about a certain fight that I want to talk about or whatever. But on X, I could just instantly post like, "Oh, this guy won because of this," or "This guy surprised me because of this," or whatever. So I'll be sure to be posting a little bit on X as well, just some instant reactions, predictions, even for certain fights, and yeah, so that should be good. Should be fun. But yeah, anyways, I think should we wrap this up or should we go a little bit longer? It's been really fun. Um, let's see. Let's see. Do we got anything? Any news or anything that came out? Let's see. Um, Joshua says he's mostly into combat sports. I follow my Texans, but hardly watch games nowadays. Yeah, I mean that's totally fair. Um, combat. I will say, combat sports, MMA is my favorite sport. Um, boxing. I'm also, as I said before, I am a casual. I mean, I don't know like too much besides like the top guys. I've watched most of the top fights, and I do know a lot of the most of the top guy or all the top guys to be honest. But and I know what they're good at, what they're not good at, whatever. Um, but I'm not like super in touch with like a lot of the up and comers and all that stuff. But yeah, so MMA is my favorite. I like boxing, I like basketball, I like football, I like baseball. I like all sports, but MMA is definitely my main push. And as I said, this channel is my main push at this point. The NBA stuff is just like fun for me. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, all right. It's just kind of fun for me. But this channel is really where I'm pushing right now. But yeah. And then also, yeah, for Ryan, as you said, uh, sorry, with affiliate links and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's not a bad idea. It's definitely not a bad idea. I would like to try to introduce sponsors, but maybe sponsors that I align myself with in the future. But at this point, unfortunately, my channel is just a little bit too small. But as I said, I mean, listen, I would love to make a living off YouTube, of course. That would be amazing. But at this point, I get it. That's going to take a long time. I'm going to have to put in a lot of work, and I'm willing to put in the work. So at this point, I'm just focusing on making content, enjoying the process, and yeah, as I said, just having fun along the way. Um, but yeah, if you guys don't have any more questions, I think I'm going to wrap this up. But yeah, anyways, seriously, thank you guys so much for joining the live stream. I'm gonna be live streaming a lot more. I'm probably gonna be live streaming tomorrow because this was so fun. There's not like new news or anything, but just to interact with you boys and have fun. But yeah, as I said, be sure to check out. I'll shout myself out one more time just in case there's any new people in here. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel if you guys have any interest in NBA. Also, be sure to check out my X. Where's my profile? There we go. Be sure to check out my X channel if you guys have any interest in that. And yeah. Anyways, that's been it, boys. Amazing podcast. Amazing stream. I really appreciate everyone for being here. And peace out, guys. See you on Wednesday. I'll be posting a MMA video Wednesday and Friday. Peace out, Joshua. Peace out, Brett. Have a great day. Peace out.